Hey Virgos, I'm working on your March reading. We're going to actually just split March into two this month. There's so many, there's very distinct energy shifts that happen mid-month. So I'm going to do this reading for the first 2 weeks and we'll come back and do a reading for the final 2 weeks of March. I think you'll see that once the first 2 weeks are over and we're through with the retrograde Mercury, although we'll still be in its shadow a little bit, it'll be clearing up. The first half of the month is a lot about Mercury still backing up but leaving Pisces, moving back into Aquarius for a few degrees before it goes direct. We have some stuff going on as Venus ends her tour with Aries, so we're going to end that with a square to Saturn, a square to Pluto. Mars is meeting up. It will be sextiling the Sun. It's also working with the nodes right now, which is what's causing a lot of hysteria and fear around this coronavirus. It's also affecting our stock market. Venus will be moving into Taurus. I think that should correct some of those issues again later on in the month. But this is just Venus working out the kinks in the system, and I really think the first half of March you're going to see a lot of internal work, a lot of internal stuff going on, which is going to cause the second half of March to be quite active. A lot of changes and a lot of manifestations that are coming to the surface at the end of March. So you'll see the energies are pretty ripe for things to really happen. You know, as Mars makes its way through Capricorn and it hits all of the points that we've been dealing with in the last couple of months, including the December eclipses. It's passing over the South Node, Jupiter, Ceres, Pluto, and Saturn, and then Saturn is finishing up with Capricorn, and on, I believe, the 17th, he moves into Aquarius. Now, this is just a little preview in March, because he'll move forward a little bit. He'll get to a degree or two into Aquarius, and then he's going to retrograde back into Cap. Oh, during that retrograde process, which we'll talk about, I'll be there every step of the way, but during that retrograde process, there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to point us to the new direction of the new karmic lessons that we're learning as he shifts Virgo from your 5th house into your 6th house, back into your 5th house where he usually delivers some gifts that you've earned through that process of that transit. So the second half of 2020, we work with a much different energy with Saturn. But that energy was trining you, and now it's going to start forming squares with you. So although life might seem less heavy and burdensome because of Capricorn shift, there will still be trials and tribulations that you will be working on as he tours. That actually came out right side up. As he tours your 6th house and you get real clear. The 6th house is a very tricky area. Again, we'll talk about it a lot in the coming months. But the 6th house really does, first and foremost, rule your health. So I think Virgo is going to be shifting focus more onto self-care, diet, valuing your health, valuing your time, how others treat you and your time. These will be big things that come up for you this year, Virgo. So I'm going to pull a couple of more cards, and then we will pull an astrology card, a spirit card. Can you believe it's March already? I have such a hard time believing it. This year is flying by, and yet I think Saturn closing out in Cap somehow with the Mercury retrograde, it's like things are moving so slow, or they feel like they're not happening, but yet they're happening all at once. So that's pretty intense. Mercury is in your okay, Virgo. I sense there's some control issues going on the first half of March. And that's okay. I see this a lot as internal stuff. So you may not see a lot of conflict or things happening or decisions being made in the first half. But there's a lot of internal processing, and there's a lot of work that Virgo knows they need to do. Starting here, Virgo, you're coming out as yourself, 9 of Pentacles. So you are in an energy where you are really good. You're very stable. You are not coming from a place of lacking. You're not stressing about the things that you don't have. One of the things that catches my eye with this card right now that I don't typically pick up on, there's actually a couple things, is that this woman is wearing a very thick glove as she holds this bird, and so there's like a barrier between her and this connection. And also, if you look at her robe really closely, you can see that. The symbols all over her robe, I see the Venus and the Mars symbols. So I feel, coming from this card today, that Virgo, there is a level of protection. There's a level in which you're not willing to compromise your independence for connection. And the Mars and the Venus on her heavy robe tell me that you cloak yourself. You carry heavy burdens from your past when it comes to relationships and the way that you've processed it. It's kind of like wearing all of your hurts and carrying them with you as a form of protection. I feel like Virgo has learned a lot of lessons in the past couple of years, and especially with the conjunction happening in your 5th house, which brought a lot of focus to the way that you value yourself and the things that you love in this life. And so there's an element of protection that's coming out here. But it comes in next to the Sun card. So I think one of the things that Virgo has to deal with this month is the fact that there may be some vulnerability that a Virgo has to show at this time in order to honor this connection that you're working on. I feel like this is a connection. It could be a job opportunity. I've got Wands, Cups, and Pentacles. I've got Leo for the Sun, so you might be connecting with another Leo or a fire sign. You may be connecting with a earth sign. I see that as well. But I like this combination because it's like Virgo's being asked to strip down some of the barriers they use to protect themselves. You know, I kind of feel like the robe is being asked to be removed. So you remove your past, the way that things always went in the past. There's maybe even a removal of the way that you think about those things. And that, you know, you can't let the past determine your future. And that even the things that you experienced in the past, although they were valuable lessons, we're at a new phase in our life, and in order to really embrace the new opportunities, because I see the sun as an opportunity for real growth, and it's substantial growth. It's romantic. But there's a vulnerability that's being asked of you to remove the barriers, to break down the walls and allow somebody to really see you, Virgo, for who you are. Current situation is that you're being asked to drop your defenses, just like I said. Spirit wants you to go through this opportunity in an element of vulnerability. But at the same time, I see a level of dropping your defenses, dropping your wall, and allowing this to occur. I also see, Virgo, as maybe conflicted over what you're willing to sacrifice and fight for at the same time. You're being asked to step up and be vulnerable. There may be the conversations that need to be had. There may be the something may be coming to light, and it might cause you to decide whether you want to fight for this relationship or this job or this friendship. And I don't think that Virgo does. I think Virgo's in a place now where if I have to fight, if I have to beg someone to spend time with me, if I have to beg them to make the sacrifices they need to make in order to build a future with me, that Virgo's not going to work in that arena anymore. They want legit connection. They want partnership. I think Virgos are really starting to focus on what their partners bring to them and not so much about what they bring to their partners. Your challenge card is the Six of Cups in reverse. So these two cards coming out together I find really interesting. Because, Virgo, I think what you're looking at as a retrograde wraps up, I think there's a review of a situation or a relationship in your life in which you realize that there are elements here where you have to stop protecting yourself. But there's also an element of letting go of the past, even if this is someone from your past, even if this is a relationship where someone wants to come back. You cannot bring the past and what happened in the past into this next phase. If you're going to work on it with this person, it can't be built on fantasies. The Six of Cups isn't always just about a past life connection or someone coming back from your past. It's also it's also where we build fantasies. You know, this is where Virgo, who's well known for this, falls in love with the potential. They fall in love with the potential a person shows and not the actions. And I think Virgo's getting really serious because your challenge card is getting over the infatuation, getting over romanticizing the relationship. So there's a lot of realness that's coming out here. And the outcome is the Knight of Pentacles. And I see this as a really beautiful symbolism that there's no pressure. There's no big commitment. None of this is scary in the first half of the month. It's really just getting your priorities straight, seeing things clearly, knowing when you have to drop your guard, knowing that you have to have the emotional and vulnerable conversations, and you have to open up and give, you know, that connection a chance. That you have to actually talk about the things and not just build castles in your mind of them just working out. And I think by doing that, you're going to lead to a very positive, slow growth in this connection. But the Knight of Pentacles is a nice energy because it's still in the early phases, but there's potential, there's honesty, there's good intentions. This is a knight that makes very good and calculated decisions. He's not rushing into anything. And as well, I think there's an element of knowing that at this point in time, you sort of just have to watch the situation. I think Virgo's studying someone else to see their moves, to see how they're going to handle situations. How are they going to handle them? What are they bringing to the table and what are they offering? Okay, I think there's a level of kind of keeping your eye on this other person and watching really clearly their actions before deciding what your moves are going to be. Overall energy, Emperor in the reverse. So I feel like the Venus squares that we're about to move into before Venus moves into Taurus, which will work beautifully with you. But before Venus moves into Taurus, it's going to have to get through some real obstacles. Well, it's in Aries, card of the Emperor. So I think that these squares might turn some stuff upside down for you. It might feel like things are getting a little out of control. It might feel like that. But really, I think Virgo is getting a little bit more control. I want to clarify a couple of these cards really quick. I want to clarify the current energy. Okay. So it looks like there is an opportunity for reconciliation right now. I think what Spirit wants you to know is that if you are willing to break down the boundaries, if you are willing to break down those boundaries and share your emotions, Virgo, this is so big right now, this Three of Cups, there's a possibility of reconciliation, of happiness, of celebration. I think there's an ultimate feeling of relief when you realize that you don't have to protect yourself. You know, there has to be an element where there's a release from wanting something so bad to knowing that if you get what you want, you're going to be okay. And if you don't get what you want, you're also going to be okay. And I think Virgo's releasing themselves from some of the pressure. Three of Cups. I don't know why these are so hard to... Ugh. Okay. Three of Cups. Knight of Wands in reverse. Six of Swords. By dropping your guard, dropping your defenses, dropping down the wall that you build around yourself, there's an opportunity for reconciliation, for celebration, for getting back together, for connecting with loved ones. I see this as an energy of friendship in this relationship, focusing on just the time that you spend together, the time that you really enjoy, being open to it, being a little bit happy, allowing yourself to be happy and whimsical and enjoy each other without all the pressure. Knight of Wands in reverse. So this tells me, again, this is a player card, okay? This is somebody that really charges at something without thinking, without acknowledging the consequences. But being in reverse, it's like trusting that the energy that you're feeling between this connection, I feel like it's not fleeting. You don't have to worry about this person fooling you or being a player. I think that this person is worthy if you're willing to invest. You know, again, I'm hit with a lot of blue, so I think the first half of March is going to be a lot about communication. And by opening up the communication, by allowing yourself to trust and open up to this, there's a Six of Swords, which is moving to calmer waters, really changing the dynamic and the goals of this relationship. I feel like this is taking you on a journey that you're supposed to be on. Let's clarify this challenge card. The Six of Cups is such a beautiful card. There's so many different meanings to it. So this connection could be something coming back to you from the past, or Virgo. There is an element, yes. There is an element in which you tend to allow the past to haunt you. I don't know if there's a past person in which you compare all others to, but that has to stop. Yeah, so we're getting over that past. We're getting over the building of the fantasy. I think we're letting go of a past relationship. And it's really quite beautiful. So either you're in a relationship with someone from your past. Either you're in a relationship with someone from your past, or you're in a relationship while thinking about somebody else from your past. And this is a month where you're really going to cut that out. Okay. Where you know that you have to leave the fantasizing about the past in the past. It doesn't belong. So if you are keeping score in this relationship, keeping track of the past, who made more sacrifices, who gave more, you know, there's like there's definitely an element of looking in the past and either basing decisions on things that happened to you in your past, or the hope that someone from your past is going to come back, and it's like the end of this cycle for you, because you're no longer focusing on the things that you lost. You're no longer focusing on a missed opportunity here. There's a strength here where it's like you stop giving attention to all of the hurts in the past. And by doing that, by healing the past wounds, doing the work, starting to realize that these were lessons you needed to learn, you find a lot of strength. And you're coming out as a King of Cups. And the King of Cups is this beautiful energy because he has a lot to offer. He has mastery of his emotions. There's so much maturity here. So there's a leveling up and a growing up, Virgo, of how you approach relationships, how you invest. There's the learning to communicate, the willingness to be vulnerable, the willingness to allow the past to be the past, and it's not going to dictate the future of this situation. If you're falling in love with someone who's a blonde, and the love of your life was a blonde, you cannot just assume that this person is going to break your heart the way they did. And so we're letting go of the past, and we're healing, and we're doing all of that work. And the outcome, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Hermit in reverse. So I think that by mid-month, there is, you know, maybe an element of the person you're connecting to, or you, has gone into a little bit of a hermit mode. Now I'm feeling a lot of earth energy, so you may be dealing with another earth sign here for sure. I'm also seeing a lot of Cancer energy, but I'm seeing in the challenge position is your emotions. And that's what we're correcting. We're getting mastery of the emotions. And remember that the overall energy here is that we're no longer attaching ourselves to outcomes. We're going to be okay whether this works out or not. We're going to give this a chance. So I want to say that this comes out in this 4 block like this. And I want to say these energies are really mirroring each other. Because I've got the Knight of Pentacles mirroring that 4 of Wands. Virgo, it's not that this situation isn't going to lead to, you know, a marriage or a commitment. It's slow coming. There's frustration. You feel like the person you're connecting with isn't moving fast enough. There's an element, just like I said, of, oh my God, this is taking forever, nothing's happening. And yet there's also this feeling like so much is happening, so much is changing, and you feel the change coming, but it's not quite here yet. And so you get stuck wondering what's going on with this other person. How do they see you? Why aren't they making any offers? Why aren't we strengthening this? But again, it's in the internal work right now. And I think just by the opening up, the coming out of the hiding, the communicating, the Hermit in reverse, this is someone who's willing to have the conversations, to step out of their comfort zones. They're not hiding it anymore. And by understanding the Queen of Pentacles, again, there's an element where you're both watching each other. You're watching your movements, your decisions, and it's all on a level of where you're going to invest. These are really, this is a grounded connection here. Again, a lot of earth energy. There's passion, there's love, there's plenty of cups. There's a lot between you two. I see a lot of really good balance in this. I see friendship, I see love, I see passion, I see the ability to work with each other. But right now there's a measuring between both of you. You're both measuring what you're bringing to the table, what you're willing to invest at this point. And that's okay. Again, this is only 2 weeks before we move into a point in March where we're going to start to make the big decisions. So I think the first 2 weeks are really about dropping your guard, being open to the communication, and sitting back and just watching what your partner's doing, what they're offering, how they're reacting. As you start to open up, they may start to open up. And a lot of progress can be made. A lot of movement. You know, there could be a relocation. There could be a situation coming up in which one of you have to relocate. And there's decisions around that. It's causing stress. It's like, I also see this as right now there's an opportunity. You find a little bit of safety in this person. You see potential for safety. Black egg and the owl. Again, that element of just watching and studying. Virgo, you're not going to make decisions in these first 2 weeks. There's just an element of observing, learning, and knowing. This is a gaining wisdom phase for you. And there is an element of faith that you're being asked, the Pisces, the I believe, that if it's meant for me, bottom of the deck, Neptune sacrifice. So this is a lot about this retrograde Mercury, right? There's a lot where you feel like this is a really good opportunity that needs to be explored, but it's asking you to have faith, to take your time, to don't judge, don't jump to judgments. Dear God, please move Mercury direct soon. And there's a lot of trusting yourself, trusting the situation, and understanding it, detaching a little bit and allowing it to flow and grow the way that it's meant to. And I think there is also an element of healing the past as you go through. So whatever's going on here, it could be triggering things from your past or making you feel vulnerable. But as it's making you feel vulnerable, it's healing you. And you're coming out really strong and really brave, Virgo. So I think that you've got this under control. I think you sense this is a really special opportunity. And even if it looks wonky right now, even if it looks like there's a lot of work or you don't know how you're going to overcome certain situations, I think with faith you can, as long as you put yourself and your healing first. This is really a beautiful reading, Virgo. I'll catch you again in about 2 weeks. We'll pick up on the mid-month and get you through the end of March. But until then, I wish you the best of luck. Enjoy these next 2 weeks and try to hold on through the retrograde Mercury. It's almost over, guys. Lots of love. Bye.